Okay, welcome along to Mood Changes Month. I'm chatting with Andrea Marsh. Andrea, tell us a little bit about what you do.
Hi, I'm Andrea from Cotswold Menopause. I'm actually a shiatsu practitioner and Chinese medicine practitioner, and I help women alleviate their symptoms completely naturally. And I do this by understanding their symptom sets and the underlying causes, and then normally through some knowledge, some lifestyle changes, some eating changes, and some supplements, we can really start alleviating your symptoms in less than a month.
Sounds good. So, where should we start with? I mean, we all know that our mood can be um, changeable, a roller coaster, um,
Yeah.
crazy. Where should we start?
Yeah, so I'm going to separate out the hormonal part from kind of the Chinese medicine understanding, I think, because as you were saying that, I was thinking I know I have, because I go back to my calendar every month, I'm having a bad day and I go, yeah, this is the same bad day as every other month.
There
So
it
we
is.
definitely have our hormonal um, mood swings. Like today I'm quite hyper, but the last 2 days I was like, oh, what's the point of it all? So even though I'm having a successful natural menopause, there is still the rhythms of what your body's doing. And
Yeah,
what I suggest in that case is the same thing that you suggest, which is journaling. So that when you're having a glum day, you can look back and go, but this is glum day on day 3 of week 1. I have every month, and there you go. Tomorrow it'll be better. And so, that's one way of doing it. But actually, what I want to also talk to you about is separate out why low moods are distinctly different from mood swings, and then touch on actually supplements for both types, because um, mine are very manageable. I just go, oh, it's that day of the month, and I move on. But for some women that are in the darkest recesses of the menopause and can see no way out and feel so bad that they're thinking about suicide, which is just horrendous. I think knowledge is always the place to start.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Knowledge and understanding are the stepping stones to then working on these things. And I think you really need to understand the difference between the emotional things that you're feeling.
Mhm.
So I'll go with low moods first of all, because this is the one that can really cause that kind of despair and you feel like you're in a really dark place. And low mood is a very distinct symptom, and it's also got loss of libido attached with it. The two things are absolutely tied together. So, of course, that starts affecting a lot of relationships. A lot of women leave their husbands during the menopause as well, because they just don't want to be touched anymore. And they are absolutely undeniably linked. So, this is low moods and loss of libido. And they're linked to something in Chinese medicine, it's called kidney energy, but in Western terms, it would be known as adrenal fatigue. And now the term burnout is being associated to it, though burnout is only seen in a workplace sense. But what it is, it's very much tied to your energy levels and the exhaustion that you're feeling. So low moods and tiredness, again, go hand in hand. And the thing is, it takes a long time to get to this state.
Yeah,
And when people are in it and you can feel like there's no way out, there is a way out, but one of the things attached to it is time. So we talk about knowledge, and then we talk about the supplements that you need. So one thing, when you've got something that's a loss in the body, which adrenal fatigue is a loss, you have to add things back in. So the very first thing I say to all women is get yourself on a multivitamin, get yourself on magnesium. And because we're talking about low moods, and there probably will be some anxiety involved, then the other one is ashwagandha and omega-3. Basically, get yourself on a starter supplement. You can get it off my website. But start pushing nutrition into your body, because that is absolutely the only way you're going to come out of this is by eating well, getting a quality of sleep.
and it's so difficult because when you feel like that, the last thing you want to do is take that time to make the nutritious food. It's a really difficult conundrum, isn't it?
Yeah, and do you know what I'd suggest in that kind of case is almost buy it ready made if that's the way around it until you've got the energy to do it. Supermarkets are pretty good now, at having things that you can shove in the oven that are vaguely nutritious. So, for example, a roast chicken with all its vegetables,
Yeah.
that's the perfect kind of food to eat when we're trying to come back from fatigue. There's a reason why they will say when you're poorly, chicken soup, mashed potato, those kind of things, because they're like a basic, just neutral nourishment to the body. Um, Once we start going to vegetables, there's some days when you're ultra tired, the thought of eating a vegetable just feels like a too big a mountain to climb. But we have to get you to that stage. So, and this is why when women are like that, I say, start taking the multivitamins and the magnesium, because for some women, in a matter of days or at least 2 weeks, they can start seeing that glimmer of changes. And that glimmer of change, obviously, then you can build on that. And then the energy does come back. What I see when I work with a group of women, that they're on the floor when they start, and you're just looking at all these faces, it's all really dark, you think they're not listening to you. And then, they're different women 3 and 4 weeks later when they've just done these things inch by inch. Some of them hate cooking, but it's about finding ways around and cheating. Do you know what? Cheat till you get going, basically.
100%.
So low moods, you can turn around, and it takes time, and it takes that knowledge, and it really does take self-care. So if you got to the point of low moods, loss of libido, anxiety, I do say to people, it's your body screaming at you that it needs nutrition. Um, it's not screaming in a pain way, but it's screaming in its own pain, and it's saying, you're literally, if you're a car, you've gone past the red down to the black, you're completely on empty. And the only way you can help it is by putting stuff back into the fuel tank, really.
Mhm.
So don't be scared to get yourself on any kind of supplements, because vitamins and minerals, I get the question quite a lot. Can I take these if I'm taking antidepressants or any kind of Western medication? And what I say is, vitamins and minerals are absolutely the building blocks of your body. So they come before antidepressants and things. Like vitamin D is a massive one. You can't, the only vitamin that you could take too much of is vitamin A. That's why you'll never find a vitamin A supplement. So when you take a multivitamin, never double up on a multivitamin, take the exact dose. But by the time you're adding in Bs and C, D, E, and magnesium, you can't actually take too much of this stuff. Because if you can keep taking it and your body's not rejecting it, then you need it. And like I say, these things are the building blocks. They're what make your body work. So, it's in all my free guides. Take these things. I'm not giving away free information that's stupid information. I'm probably giving away the most important information. It's just people don't register it as that important. People go, why do I need to take a multivitamin? And I'm like, because your body is literally being leached of all this nutrition. And when you get to that point of loss of libido, low mood, anxiety, you're running on empty. So that is low mood. So it is a tough one. It's a depressing one, but there is light at the end of the tunnel if you start making all the little changes. But it's completely different from mood swings.
Yes.
So the way I see mood swings, I'm sure a lot of women will identify this, it'll be when you snap and you don't even know where it came from, and you've just lost it at your husband or your colleague or your children or your dogs.
And
And
it
you're just
feels
like,
like an out of body experience.
yeah, yeah. And then maybe 2 minutes later, you're feeling so remorseful and guilty that you burst into tears.
Yes.
Um, to me, to me, that's mood swings.
Yes.
Um, and the one thing that happens with both mood swings and low moods is there seems to be this loss of happiness. It's like, I can't remember the last time I was excited. I can't remember the last time I was looking forward to something or was happy about something. So the one thing they both have in common is a mood swing isn't you're going from crying to ecstatic happiness. It's more the anger bursts, and then the guilt, and then the crying, and the despair, and yeah, the loss of happiness. So I'm very much about working with women, not only to give them a healthier menopause, but to give them a happier menopause as well. And body and mind go completely together. So as you get healthier, you do get happier. It's lovely to see, and it does work. So what's causing mood swings? So this is sometimes where there's too much in the body. So pretty much most of the imbalances of menopause are that we need to put something in, like all the supplements. And even if you've got mood swings, you need the supplements as well. It's a no-brainer. Just take it from me. Take all the basic supplements I suggest, no matter what stage of the menopause, no matter what your symptoms, because I suggest the things that are just the building blocks of your body. But something additionally that's happening with mood swings is we have to move to the liver now. So we were talking about kidneys and adrenals for low moods, but mood swings now comes to the liver. And tends to be, if you're a person at mood swings, you might also be a person that wakes in the night. You might have night sweats. You might have the hot flashes, but you get easily irritable. And that's the whole area of mood swings and liver, is that some flare up in irritability.
I'm just going to say something actually that's purely personal to me, but I'm sure if I've experienced it, then other people have, that ties in with all of this.
Yeah.
Regardless of what has happened around the mood swing, after it, like the next day, I genuinely feel hungover from it.
Yeah. Right. Yes. An exhaustion almost.
It's like my liver's going, we've got to do something about this. And then the next day I'm like, whoa, you know.
And have you normally had a bad night as well?
I've normally cried a lot, so I guess that hasn't helped.
Well, you know what? Well, I tell you what you're feeling then, and I actually found an article on this because I've just been through a liver detox week with my group, and so I was looking at interesting and varied articles all week, and I found an article why crying is a brilliant liver detox.
Oh, right.
Because you are crying out toxins. So we'll just rewind a little bit to what's going on with mood swings in the liver.
Yeah, sorry.
The liver is like a great big filter. So think about the oil filter in a car, and we obviously have that changed once a year when we have our service and everything, so it doesn't clog up. But we've got to 40 something, and our filter's got a bit clogged up, and we've probably never declogged it. And the liver is very much, and this is where the Chinese medicine comes in. You have to take this leap of faith and believe what I'm saying, but I've seen it play out enough over 20 years to know it's true. So when we get this cloggy liver, and this happens with what we eat, processed foods, sugars, alcohol, caffeine, stimulants, medicines, you name it, all of these things kind of clog up the liver. So when the liver's got cloggy, it does something to the emotions in Chinese medicine that's called, it makes your emotions stutter. And stuttery emotions aren't great, because that means we don't have nice, gentle waves of emotion. We've got stutteriness, and stutteriness gets stuck, and then stuck stuff kind of gets a budge, and when it opens or alleviates, it explodes.
Yeah, makes sense.
So this is why we suddenly go from being low to exploding. Don't know where it came from, to mortification and crying. It's this absolutely exaggerated, bit like a volcano is going on inside of us.
It feels like that.
Yeah. And those tears, funnily enough, there's different types of tears in Chinese medicine. You might be able to differentiate between the two. There are big, ploppy, sobbing tears when you're grieving, and that's the kind of water it spills out of you. It's like, where is this amount of water coming from? And then you've probably got a clear runny nose, and you're just sobbing, and that's like a grief crying. But the tears associated maybe with what you've been experiencing, and especially with the liver, anger tears. Anger tears are where you can almost feel the muscle tension building up around all your neck and shoulders, and you get very red rims, and you go red in the face, and it's like harder to cry, and not as much water comes out, but it comes out, but you can almost feel the frustration as you're doing it.
Yeah.
So But it doesn't matter what kind of tears you're crying, still in releasing that water, you are detoxing on some level. And crying is exhausting. I've had great crying episodes in my life, and I always think, oh, I needed it. I needed it. And I think sometimes you do think, I might be exhausted, but I felt I needed it. And I think a lot of problem for a lot of women is that they don't cry, they don't let it all out.
Yeah.
And to that, I say, put on. There's a great series on Netflix at the moment, Virgin River. Put that on and have a cry fest. I've been suggesting that to all my girlfriends, and they're just like, "Oh no, I don't." And then 2 weeks later, oh, I just put on Virgin River and I just cried all the way through.
But it's true, you can't hold it all in. You can't be. It's like we say this all the time. At some point we have to start putting ourselves first, and whether that's letting the emotions come out, whether that's feeding ourselves better, whether that, it doesn't matter how it is, but we have to go through all of these things, don't we? They're there. We have to experience them.
Yeah, and I think back and I think, my mum used to spend a lot of time behind a locked door in the bathroom through my teenage years. She's never talked about it and she's forgotten now that it ever happened. But as a 15, 16-year-old, it's happening. So that was probably something going on there. And the one thing you need to know about mood swings and the stuttery liver and liver toxicity is holding this stuff in is far worse for you. So of course, one of the things you'll want to know is, how do I start cleaning my liver? How do I start? And and that is there's a lot to do. There's little things you can do, and there's bigger things you can do. We're mainly looking at what you're eating. So working through. So basically, if you switch to more vegetables and things, and cut out processed foods and sugars, you're going in the right direction. But I completely appreciate that's a real challenge for some people, and we have to step through that, almost food source by food source, helping people to do that. But that's the kind of area we're in when probably quite a few times now on this thread I've talked about the liver over the last year, and it is, if you can do anything to clean out the liver, it's probably one of the best things you can do for your health during this time. But I was going to make a point and it's completely gone out of my head what the point was. Yeah, so that's it. Yeah, so again, holding emotions in is not good for us. So finding any way of alleviating emotion, and a lot of people will do this via running, sport, doing too much exercise. People, and it's the kind of exercise like spin classes and kickboxing and boot camps, and it's like, and it's almost, if you're saying to yourself, if I don't do that exercise, I will kill someone. It's that kind of mentality.
Yeah.
And I completely understand that that's a release for you, but it's not a release that's conducive to your own long-term health.
Yeah.
Because then you're using up that much needed energy in an explosive way. And when we're talking stuttery liver and like a volcano, explosive uses of energy are not good for us, because that energy is coming out as an emotional release, but you're using up something you desperately need in your body. Is getting used in the wrong way.
Yeah.
So if we can control your release of emotion, so to tell somebody who normally does kickboxing, hey, let's do yoga. But actually, if you can step over and put your mindset, because so much of this is mindset, if you can put your mindset to one side and say, do you know what? I'll give it a go if they say it works. And we've got Julianne Garrido on here, who's a brilliant yoga menopause.
Yeah.
And she definitely has yoga poses for releasing heat and tense, pent up emotions, but in a way that is far more beneficial to you than punching something till it's
Absolutely. And I mean, I think one of the real biggies in perimenopause is that it gives people their sort of bullshitometer gets much shorter, so they feel like they're being very short-tempered. And yes, if you experience the real flip of mood change, it can be terrifying. But actually, sometimes it's just that you're starting to set your own boundaries.
Oh yeah, and that's great. That is great. It's and that's healthy.
Yeah,
So it really is the difference between what you personally consider. Oh, I put that person in their place. I feel great. It's nothing. If you feel great after having an outburst, then there's nothing wrong because you feel great. But if you're beating yourself up, if you're guilting yourself, if you're locking yourself away and crying, you're pulling a duvet over your head and saying, I can't face the world, you go in and kicking the beep out of something, that's not right.
no. And that's when, if somebody's watching this and they're feeling like that, they should come and have a word with you. I mean, you do a free discovery call, don't you? So
I do, yeah.
if somebody's a bit unsure, they've got your free downloads they can look at, and they can come and have a chat with you, because a lot of people either don't want to speak to their doctor or feel that they're not getting heard by their doctor. And I know you help an awful lot of women in menopause and perimenopause to just get themselves back on track. So I think anybody watching this who's just feeling a bit lost and a bit like their emotions are bigger than them at the moment, I think it would be in all of their interests to come and have a chat with you, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a person that once I realise something, I'm quite self-sufficient. And luckily, 4 years ago, I was at a talk that made me go, "Oh, menopause, what's that then?" So I was really lucky, but I appreciate there are so many people out there that are just floored by all this. I mean, we're all in the same boat, you and me both. We didn't know about this till it hit. They were like, "What the hell is that?" But we've ended up in our respective roles because we've gone, "Oh, let's find out more about that." But so many women out there. I just heard a story this morning of a lady high up in banking, was put on leave because she just sat in a room and just couldn't do the work that she was given to do anymore. And after a week, still looking at a blank piece of paper, they were like, "What the heck is wrong?" And this is an intelligent person, like I say, very high up in banking. So the nutritional depletion that can happen, and it's especially worse for anybody that's under any kind of stress, can so turn your brain to mush that you just don't know which way to turn. I mean, to say not to see the wood for the trees is not even expanding it as big enough. It's just, I speak to women that just go, just given up. I haven't got a clue. I don't know where to go or what to do. And unfortunately, GPs, they don't have a lot of tools in their kit, and they also don't have a lot of knowledge. I don't blame
They don't have a lot
GPs.
of time either.
No, because 10 minutes, even our discovery calls, 15, 20 minutes is still, you can get through quite a lot, but we're talking at quite a lot of speed. You just don't get that in a doctor's surgery. It's not their fault. Can't have everything on the NHS. And I also think how bad the menopause is for women right now is a new condition because of, I keep coming back to adrenal fatigue. But this generation is seeing adrenal fatigue like no other generation before it, because we've lived our lives at a faster, more hectic pace. So yeah, well, we are having different menopauses to our mother's generation, I do think.
Yeah, definitely. Brilliant. Thank you so much, Andrea. I will
You're
add
welcome.
the details of how people can get in touch with you at the end here. So.
Thank you. Just go to cotswoldmenopause.co.uk. I'm there.
Lovely.
See you again soon.
Thank you very much.
Bye.